Hello everyone, welcome to the Comet Part 2. This is English Supplementary lesson number 10. So if you have checked out the older video, you must have seen I've explained the other videos, and this is second part of the lesson named the Comet. Okay, without any further delay, let's begin the lesson. I'll present a brief preface before getting into detailed reading and explanation. Okay, here we go. Lesson number 10, the Comet. So we have all known about our beloved Dattada, and Dattada is now invited to the secret conference. How to change the course of Comet? Datta is scientist's hidden agenda. Dattada and the defense advisor become close friends and share a secret. What do you think the secret will be? Well, let's read and find out. Here we are, we take up the first paragraph. Let me first read and explain it. Okay. By the time they had finished their deliberation and Sir John dropped him at his hotel off Regent Street, it was 1 a.m. Okay. There was hardly any crowd on the street, but when James looked up from his window, a star-studded night sky greeted him. Somewhere amongst these stars were Comet Datta heading for a collision with Earth. So we are talking about a serious subject wherein a comet is expected to collide with Earth. Not expected to, they are 100% sure this is likely to happen. Okay, so they had this deliberation, discussion. It was hard to believe that the calamity of the future on such a peaceful night is likely to happen. For a moment, James wondered if he had done the sums right. He was wondering whether there were some mistakes with his sums. Okay, moving on. We all know what the problem is. The problem is that James has made a calculation reassuring that Comet Datta is likely to hit the Earth. Okay, and if a comet hits Earth, we all know what may happen. Whatever doubt James may have had about Sir John's efficiency were quickly dispelled when he reported for the conference and found that all the experts listed by him were there. So when John attended this conference, he found that his version and the version of the theory put forth by the expert were streamlining. They were actually supporting his calculation. So now what was sure was Comet Datta was likely to hit the Earth. Astronomers, computer scientists, nuclear physicists, space technologists, biologists, all were there. Because it was something unprecedented that was likely to happen. As a result, all the important persons from different fields and spheres had gathered there. And as Sir John's special invitee was present, the man who had started it all, Manoj Datta. So Manoj Datta, amongst all, was present there. The conference lasted 1 week and went on under total cover of secrecy. And this kind of meetings are kept secret. They are not revealed in front. They are not a subject of revelation to public. Okay. First, the experts checked and rechecked James Fawcett's calculation with the latest observation of Comet Datta. What they found was he was absolutely right. There was no escape from the direct hit predicted by him. There was a small chance that the comet may just graze the atmosphere of the Earth and not collide. Okay, there was a small chance of the comet grazing the atmosphere and not colliding. So in that case, the loss of life and property would not be total. But the slight respite was hardly reassuring enough for taking action. So they were deciding whether they should take some kind of action in order to get some sort of respite, some sort of relief, because lives of millions of people living on Earth was at stake. Is it? So there was so much deliberation. Moving on, having decided that some action was needed, what form should it take? The experts dismissed defensive measures like living in underground bunker. Living in underground bunker is not a solution because of something like this was happening. Living in bunker was no way saving them. It would dig deep through the bunker and kill people, cause severe calamity, damage, catastrophe, you may call it anything. That was simply not a practical proposition or solution. So the only course was to take the offensive action. And what offensive action? Comet Datta could be marginally deflected. Deflection, we all know, right? Moving it into some kind of direction. Let's say if something is hitting the earth straight way, if you deflect it, you have to move it this way or that way. Okay, so deflection is what we are talking about. So they decided to deflect it and give the earth a push. The experts calculated that the bulk of destructive nuclear power available on the earth would be needed to achieve this mammoth task. Okay, bulk of destructive nuclear power would be required, because it's not a small task to divert something, a comet, right? So a gigantic nuclear explosion suitably placed, suitably directed, and suitably timed could do the trick. Such an amicable solution is what they were planning, but then it would require great timing and precision, like we see in movies and all American spaceship movies, if you have seen some. So they were trying to do something similar. This could only be done by placing the nuclear payload in a spaceship, sending it to intercept the approaching comet, and detonating it by remote control. Okay, success or failure, secrecy must be preserved. Secrecy, like I said before, is important. So finally a timeline was drawn for the operation, which was code named. There is a code name. Not any XYZ person is allowed to access this code names and file. The name of the project was Project Light Brigade, and the important dates are listed below. October 10, November 15, December 15. Okay, October 10, what was the date? Dispatch the spacecraft with payload until by then the comet is already destroyed by natural causes or has changed its path due to unforeseen reason, which was not likely to happen. November 15, rendezvous with comet and detonation of the payload. If in case you are wondering what is rendezvous, it means meeting place. Okay. Then December 15, the experiment failed this way. The day the comet would be hitting the earth, of course. So if it succeeded this way, the day would pass by at a near but safe distance. The success of this experiment depended on how massive the comet was. Nobody could estimate. Everybody hoped that it was not very massive. So Datta was quite inquisitive and curious. So he happens to ask Mr. Jones, do you think we will succeed? Datta asked John Macpherson for his opinion. So during the week, the two developed considerable affinity for each other. Okay, so Mr. Datta, he says, I'll give an honest answer. I'm not buying any Christmas present till December 15. So Mr. Macpherson was not absolutely sure as to whether or not whether they are absolutely safe. Okay. So Datta toured the British Isles for 2 weeks after the conference, and he had a pleasant time visiting observatories and exchanging views with amateur as well as professional astronomers. So on his return, he was greeted by inevitable vast crowd of friends, social leaders, scientists, students, and the usual hangers-on. So loaded with garlands, Phool Mala like we say in Hindi, and bombarded by questions from the press, he somehow made his way to the waiting car. Okay, with this we come to conclusion of part 1. There is this tiny comprehension check. If you want me to dedicate a separate video on this one, you can drop them in the comment box. Part 2. Let's begin them with the preface. Datta returns home to a warm welcome and a ceremony which is not a scientist's delight. A secret communication sends him rushing to the local sweet shop. Indrani Devi says that Khoka, their 8-year-old grandson, has saved the world. Her husband is seriously puzzled. So arriving home, he found another crowd gathered under a pandal. What is pandal? Pandal is some sort of arrangement, makeshift structure made in Durga Puja and some sort of festival. Okay. So this usually is seen in streets of Kolkata and hundreds and thousands. Okay. So all over Bengal, to be precise, because Durga Puja is a festival which is celebrated with much pomp and grandeur in Bengal, as we know. So he glanced questioningly at Indrani Devi. Surely she knew how he hated crowds. So Indrani, obviously uneasy, offered the explanation. She says, I have arranged a yajna called priest to bless you. He says, but why? Just because I love the shores of India. You know, it is no longer a taboo. And in any case, you know my views on this meaningless ritual. So he was not at all pleased with whatever was happening. Okay. Now we move on to page number 84. Indrani Devi looked at Shivaji Babu, the younger brother of her husband. So Shivaji Babu coughed and explained. He says, we have all been very disturbed since you discovered the comet. Guruji recommended a Shanti Yajna to pacify the evil spirit behind the comet. We all are waiting for you to perform the yajna. So he says, may I know what is the specific advantage there in this ceremony? So Dattada was outwardly calm. Okay. So his brother replies, the comet you have discovered will not cause any ill effects on. So he says, you know, the comet you have discovered will not cause any ill effects on the earth. So on this remark, Dattada blew up. He was really angry and happy. He could not take it any longer. He says, don't you know that this is all superstition, false belief? It could be condoned in the olden times when man did not know what comets were. He says, you know, I would have endorsed your view in the olden time, but not so in modern time. Comets are known for what they are. Their movements are forecast precisely by mathematical calculation, and it is clearly established by statistical studies that their visits have no correlation with disasters on the earth. All this is, of course, futile on my part to explain. You and the likes of you never read even the elementary books on science. So Dattada was not enjoying the conversation his brother was having with him, so he mocked his education, not degree, because education is something, degree is something. You could educate yourself through various means, right? So he was not questioning his literacy but his education on science. So Shivaji Babu gently interjected, so he interrupted him and says, but our wise forefathers recommended such yajanas. So since his return from London, Dattada was in regular correspondence with Sir John Macpherson. Their friendship had grown out of the appreciation of each other's virtue, so they had some quality. As a result, two persons with quality had developed some friendship. Okay, so Sir John admired Dattada's scientific outlook, while the later admired former's discipline and efficiency. He was disciplined, he was efficient. Okay, he knew how to work through things. So their correspondence never mentioned the Project Light Brigade, as it was secret code. Although once in a while, Sir John would hint at its progress in a subtle manner, in a clear manner, which only Dattada would understand and nobody else. So meanwhile, Comet-Datta was following its predicted path. In due course, it developed its tail. It circled the sun without breaking apart, nor did it evaporate. So the first phase had gone. The scientists on Project Light Brigade therefore knew that the threat of collision was now very much real. In the middle of October, Dattada got a letter from Sir John. In the midst of description of the meeting of the Royal Astronomical Society, the unseasonably warm weather, the opening matches of the football season, and a recent by-election. So he is describing the usual activities that happen in a typical West Bengal calendar year. Okay, by-election, football matches, warm weather. Dattada spotted the sentence he was eagerly looking for. The sentence was, of course, in a letter written by John. Okay, the charge of the Light Brigade has begun. Let us hope for the best. So the spacecraft had been launched on time, but will it achieve the rendezvous in time and at the right place? Will the remote control detonation work? What if the gigantic huge pile fails to fire? So there were a lot of questions. Okay, so Dattada could not share his anxieties. He was in tension with anyone around him. He had to participate in an outwardly manner and enjoy all the puja ceremonies. Puja refers to Durga Puja. He also enjoyed the Diwali celebration and all the other festivities. His sole daytime relaxation was in the company of Khoka. Now who's Khoka? Khoka is his 8-year-old grandson, and of course at night he used to look through Divya. Divya, what is Divya? We have discussed in part 1. In case if you're wondering, try to peek through and find what it is. He was regularly monitoring the comet. now clearly visible even to the naked eye. On November 18, a special messenger on a scooter from British Council brought in an urgent telex message for him. The telex, back then there were no smartphone, these and that, so things could not be translated through WhatsApp, telephone, these and that like we have now. Okay, so there used to be this telex operator. Now, this telex operator in Calcutta, now Kolkata, had wondered what was so special about it that made the message so urgent. But on reading it, Dattada lost all his lethargy and rushed to his favorite Rasagulla shop. So people eat Rasagulla as a sweet, right? Quite popular in Bengal. So whenever there is something celebratory, people usually enjoy this sweet. So he rushed to his Rasagulla shop, and in celebrating, as a celebration to the messages received, of course there was something worth celebration. It says, "I'm now confident of buying my Christmas present on December 15, John Macpherson." That means earlier in a message he said that he was not buying any Christmas present until December 15, but now he says he was buying. That means the danger is averted. On December 15, Comet Datta came closest to the earth at a distance of 80,000 kilometers. Millions saw it and admired it. Everyone was in wow, wonder, amazement. Only a handful knew how close they had come to total annihilation. What is annihilation? Total destruction. Okay. So when the comet had gone far, far away and was seen no more, Dattada felt it safe to make the following comments to his wife. Now that the comet came and went, are you satisfied that no major disaster took place that can be attributed to it? I agree that there has been no major disaster, but there could have been some. Do you know how they were averted? Indrani Devi said with quiet confidence. Okay, so she says, do you even know how we averted this comet? Okay. So Dattada looked at her. Did she know? He was wondering. How could she? He had never mentioned Project Light Brigade to her. He probed cautiously. He says, I don't understand what you mean. So she says, it's very simple. There were no disasters because of the yajna in our house. She is associated it all to yajna. Okay. So he says, but I never performed the yajna. Don't you remember? I refuse to have anything to do with it. And she says, of course I do. But we found a way out. At least Guruji did. He said that if you were unwilling to perform the yajna, it would be alright if a descendant of yours did it. Okay, so descendant here refers to his grandson. So she says, so we got Khoka to deputize for you, and it has worked. She exclaims. Okay, isn't Guruji clever? Indrani's words had a ring of triumph. She was very happy. You see, Dattada formed a mental picture of Khoka performing the yajna, uttering mantras dictated to him which he did not understand. So Dattada was forming all the pictures in his mind, and then he was taking a clear look at what could have happened on this day. You see, Panditji sitting here, this yajna, Khoka, his wife, and everyone is seated. Okay. Moving on to the last page. Pouring ghee at a specified interval into the fire. They say swaha, swaha. Whenever swaha is mentioned, ghee is to be poured, right? And then flour are to be offered as well. And then the picture changed to an assembly of scientists at the conference analyzing the problems, devising solution and executing them rationally and efficiently. He was thinking of two different solutions. One, the yajna, two, the scientists doing number of them. So it seems so hard to believe that both pictures with different aspects of contemporary human society, modern time human society. So Dattada was aware of the gulf. Here gulf refers to difference that separates the rich from the poor, the educated from the illiterate, the privileged from the unprivileged. But this gap between the rational and superstitious seemed to him far, far wider, far more sinister. Will human society ever succeed in eliminating it? So it ends with a wonderful message, isn't it? There is this rich-poor divide gap and all. So Dattada was wondering towards the conclusion. Will it ever cease? Will it stop? Dattada did not know the answer. So this wonderful piece is written by Jayant Narlikar, And with this we come to conclusion of the lesson. If you want me to prepare another piece on helping you with the solution, drop them in the comment box. Okay, so let's wind up the session here. Thank you. Have a great time. Bye bye.